Hi hippies! Welcome back. It's Courtney Shavante here. I'm back with another banging resin tutorial for you guys. So today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be using this mold here. It says "We Out." It has Harriet Tubman right there, 1849. Yes, ma'am, because we are celebrating Women's History Month this March. So I'm really excited for this tutorial because I'm doing something completely different. I found these on Amazon. It's kind of hard to see here. I don't want to stab myself, but these are just some like little brooch pins and everything. So today we are going to be making a brooch, which is super beginner friendly, and you can make it using pretty much any keychain size mold that you want. So if you're interested in learning what I do with this, make sure you do stay tuned so that way you can find out. And also don't forget to hit that notification bell and hit the subscribe button so that way you don't miss anything that I do put out for you hippies moving forward. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Alright hippies, so to get started, of course we have our pre-mixed resin here. I have about 20 milliliters in here, but honestly we only need maybe 5 for this step. And what I do is I went ahead and filled the resin mold about halfway, and I'm just making sure that the etchings are covered, and I'm using my stir stick to release any bubbles that may be forming around those etchings or getting trapped into those corners. So definitely be mindful of that. If the stir stick is too big, then you can always use a toothpick or something like that that's a little bit smaller to get in there. Next, I'm going to take my pressed flowers here and I'm going to place them face down into the resin, and I'm just going to push them down so they're as close to the surface of the mold as possible, and that's going to help eliminate any bubbles from getting trapped underneath the flowers, and it's also just going to help make for a very nice and clean look with making sure that the flowers don't rise up to the surface or anything like that. So the closer you can have it to the surface of the mold, the absolute better. After you have your flowers placed, you want to go ahead and just leave these secure for a couple hours. Okay, so now we're going to be doing the back layer here. So in this cup here, I'm going to be sectioning off just a little bit of resin so that way I have just enough to turn it black and put a nice little second layer on here. So first I'm going to add in a bit of mica powder, not too much because you never want more than 10% pigment to the amount of resin that you have, because it can cause some issues when it gets to curing and everything. So I'm just mixing that mica powder in really good and making sure that it's like dispersed throughout and that it doesn't have like any bubbles trapped. Next, I'm going to mix in just a couple drops of this black opaque alcohol ink, which is also going to help with bubbles, just because the alcohol that's in the alcohol ink is, automatically going to help pop some of those. Next, I'm coming in with this glitter mix in my sunshine color, and it's so pretty. It's like the yellow glitter mix that I have available on my website, and I'm just mixing that in really good, and then I'm going to go ahead and pour this to fill the mold. I start by pouring a little bit and spreading it around to prevent any bubbles from getting trapped, and then from there I just go ahead and completely fill it and everything, so that way we can make sure it's nice and even. And then of course spray a little bit of alcohol and allow that to cure as well. Now that it's nice and hard, we're going to go ahead and just wiggle the mold. Remember to always wiggle the molds, never the resin, and it pops out nicely. Pull off any little excess pieces that may be on there and sand it if you do need to do so. Now I'm just going to come in with this white acrylic paint, and I'm going to use just a regular paintbrush. I'm pushing this paint directly into the etchings, making sure that I have a nice layer on here, and I don't mind it getting places where the etchings are not, just because on those smooth areas it does wipe off very easily. So this is very beginner friendly and very user friendly. So yeah, you don't have to be super particular. After that has had a chance to completely dry, what we're going to do is just take a damp rag, spray some alcohol, and then wipe away that excess paint just like I was telling you about. See how easily it comes off? Like, you don't have to be a perfectionist or anything in order to be able to like get a nice clean look and a nice clean finish that we're going for. Be sure to get in between the letters, in between those little tiny spaces, just to make sure there isn't any excess paint on there that you do not want, and go around the sides too, because our very next step is going to be getting the little back pieces attached. Now this is what I'm going to be using here. I have my Scotch super glue. This one is actually the thick formula, and it helped a lot with drippings, so I do definitely suggest going for the thicker formula, just so that way you don't have any issues using this baking soda method that I'm about to show you. So since this is brand new, I had to poke a hole into the little super glue top in order for it to come out. These are the little pins that came inside the little package and everything. I will have the link available on my Amazon storefront, so that way you are able to go grab them as well, and have the exact same ones that I am working with. But I'm just making sure that I have the size that I want. I'm going to go ahead and add this glue directly onto the piece and onto the back of the little Brooch pin too. I'm trying not to add too much to where it shows so much overflow, but I want a tiny bit of overflow so that way the baking soda has something to catch on to. Just get a tiny little scoop of it, you don't need a whole lot, and sprinkle it over on top of the glue, and what it's going to do is it's going to create an instant bond. Now with this super glue formula being a little bit thicker, it does take a little bit longer, so just keep that in mind, but still just a couple seconds. After about 20 seconds or so, you should be just fine. Knock off any excess baking soda that's on there and clean it up using some alcohol, and then we'll be good to go. Ta-da! This right here is our Brooch pen, and she is so fetch. I love like the little play on the whole "we out" thing, like Harriet Tubman, 1849. Like, you guys already know the story of the Underground Railroad and everything. If not, then I suggest you do some heavy researching. But yes, I love how this glitter looks on here. I love how the flowers look along with these like little layers and stuff. Like, let's get a little close up here. Yes, like I'm also loving how the black is like really just making all the words and stuff pop on here. This is how the back of the Brooch looks. As you can see, it is a little bit messy because it got a little bit messy for me, but with practice, you know, it will definitely become cleaner, so that way you don't have to worry about any unsightly overage or anything like that. But yeah, like I'm really loving how this Brooch turned out. This is something I'm probably going to start making a little bit more often on here, just to have a little bit more fun and variety. If you guys are rocking with this tutorial, leave me a like and comment. You know, I absolutely love hearing from you hippies. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll catch you next time. XO. Mwah.